What's up, people? Here we go. Ade Gman episode 19. Normally what we do is we look back on the weekend's boxing straight away. So we are going to get to Josh Taylor. We're going to get to Moses Itauma. Everyone's excited about Alois Jr., Nathaniel Collins, and we'll touch on those people because I think all four of them have interesting stories in terms of where they go next. But I want to get straight to the big breaking news. We are filming this at 5 p.m. on Thursday. Obviously, it will go out on Friday lunchtime. But around 3 o'clock, news broke. Ring Magazine were the first to break it about Jaime Munguia failing a PD test done by VADA in his fight against Bruno Soras. Obviously, that fight was in Saudi Arabia, a chief support for Canelo versus Skull. You know, the fight card that everyone wants to forget. Well, now everyone's really going to want to forget it because it's got worse. I'm going to go straight off the bat here. Boxing obviously has a massive issues when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs. Eddie Reynoso's camp has an issue when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs. But boxing needs to really put a stamp on something. Like, it needs to crack a nut with an axe, so to speak. So they need to make someone an example because this is just going to continue. Whether it be lifetime bans, whether it be withholding someone's purse until the outcome of said drug test, something's got to happen. That's why I wasn't mad at Devin Haney when he tried to sue Ryan Garcia because, well, something's got to happen. You can't just get away with it scot-free. And right now, another big star's failed another test.
You took the words out of my mouth. Listen, that's a bad look on Eddie Reynoso, his camp. That's the first person, I believe, in Saudi Arabia who's fought there, like fought, that's been popped. And the Saudis don't want that. They don't want someone failing the test on their shows. I don't think Turkey does at all. And I agree with you. I mean, if you think about it like this, where's the repercussions? Where's the recourse? Ryan Garcia failed a PED test, and him and Devin Haney both spend a year out of the ring, and they both return on the same show. One of them failed the PED test, one of them didn't, and they both spent equal amount of time out of the ring. There's no punishment there. There's literally none. So the purse one is an interesting one because nothing changes things like money. You could give someone an 18-month ban, and they're like, okay, I'm going to go ham during that 18 months. I'm going to come back to the ring. I'm going to look just as good, and I'm going to make more money. If you actually nip it in the bud and just say, right, never mind the ban, you've made 5 million? No. Or you've made 2 million? No. We're holding that until all this comes out. You will have other fighters saying, oh, crap. Oh, I can't afford that. No. Let's do something. That's the only way. It's unfortunate because the bans are one thing, but we've seen it. We've seen fighters serve bans and then still fail tests.
Yeah, and we've seen big name fighters serve bans, come back, and there's no real punishment because they go straight into a big fight and they make millions. So the only thing for me is, look, you either give lifetime bans, you give proper bans that mean something significant, like a 4 or 5 year ban, which is a lot in a pro fighter's career, or you withhold, as I say, withhold the money. If you're a fighter of any sort, you're not going to mind that. Withhold the money. All you got to do is wait 3 weeks. You come back clean. Oh, there's your money.
Yeah, exactly.
If you come back dirty, then that money is no longer yours. And I mean, that's a whole nother conversation as to where that money goes. But something needs to happen here because if I'm Bruno Soras, 1 second, I came to your home country, your hometown and beat you. And all of a sudden you rematch me and you cheat. Like, what's saying you weren't cheating there then? It's honestly, it's a crazy story.
The one thing I would say though, and as much as I love the concept of withholding the purse, there is a gray area there. We've seen before where like fighters have had the fight, they've been probably paid, and then remember Tyson Fury, it was over a year later when the Christian Hammer fight happened. That money is well and truly paid and gone. So that's the one thing. I think that if there's any analytical finding, right, it needs to be boom, instantly. Because if you leave it for a couple of weeks, well, by then, you know, the money has been paid, stuff like that's happened. And, you know, I think if you leave it a couple of weeks, they've got plenty of time to come up with an excuse. It needs to be, if anything comes up, VADA have to say, right, there it is, there it goes, boom, nip it in the bud. And as you said, Bruno Soras,
Okay, so there has to be some sort of, something has to be, though, for the opponent. Because again, this isn't any other sport. This isn't athletics where obviously steroids is rife. This isn't other sports where it's quite big, like tennis or golf even. This is someone like a Bruno Soras. Okay, no, let's take Devin Haney as a great example.
I was literally going to say he's a perfect example.
Devin Haney is a perfect example because Devin Haney is taking punishment and everyone now believes that he's not recovered from that punishment. So he's taken a physical battering by someone that was on performance enhancing drugs. And there's a lot of people in the industry that say, well, Haney's not the same anymore. So there has to be some sort of, if I'm Haney, I'm sorry, there has to be more than just, okay, it's a no contest. That doesn't mean anything. You've affected my career. You've affected how many times I can make money because I took too much punishment from you.
It's exactly that. Like, if you take another example, David Price, for example, how many fighters did he fight in the past that had PEDs in their system? But people could say, oh, but we'll make it a no contest. It's like, man still got knocked out. He's still less of a fighter. Devin Haney looks so jittery and so so afraid almost to get hit. How do you recover from that? And that's been caused to him by someone who was cheating, let's be frank. And you can't fix that.
No. I've not checked, and I probably should have before this podcast. Who was the sanctioning bodies for those fights over there? Like, who is it? Was it the British Boxing Board of Control? I mean, I know they've done a few Saudi events. Like, who's in control of it? Who's going to issue the fines? Who's going to issue everything? I'm not quite sure who does it.
That's a good question. Normally in the past it had been the board, but this was an all, like, essentially this was an all kind of American kind of fighting in America. This was more an all American thing. So I don't know if the board would have been involved in this necessarily. So that's actually a good question, who they're going to have to deal with, because as we know, the board would deal with UCAD along with VADA. So you expect the board to make a statement. They haven't said anything on this.
Yeah. But look, it's not a good look. And I know, look, I know Eddie Reynoso, and ultimately it's a fight from his camp, but it's not Eddie Reynoso. At least we don't know it's Eddie Reynoso that's giving these fighters stuff, right? I mean, it's always the fighter's responsibility. And I'm super disappointed in Jaime Munguia. I think he has until 10 days to produce his B sample. I don't know why people waste their time. The B sample is always the same as the A sample. Again, it's a case of what happens now, because I don't think 12 months is enough. I don't think a fine's enough. Like, something needs, like, all what's going to happen one day is a fighter's going to die in the ring, and the person that was fighting them is going to be done for PEDs, and then boxing has a serious problem. Like, say Saras got severely injured in that fight, then what?
I know.
It's a whole different conversation, right? It's a whole different conversation.
You say that, and I really do hope that never happens. Truthfully, I hope it never comes to that. That's why we need to nip it in the bud, for God's sakes. Like, it's you said athletics. There's a lot of sports where there's PED use. It's rampant. You're not getting assaulted in those sports, and you are in boxing. And it literally, we've seen fighters unfortunately pass in the ring where the opponent has been clean. All right. And it's affected the opponent as well. You're talking about a guy going in there knowingly, well, say knowingly, but we'll say a guy who is on something that's giving him an advantage, and then he's going to proceed into punching the guy. That can't be right in any. No. We have to nip that.
Just morally, like, forget anything else. Just morally, it can't be right knowing that, okay, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to have a war, and I know that I'm bringing a gun to a knife fight.
Exactly.
It's just morally wrong. Have you heard of an athlete called Justin Gatlin?
I have, but I can't picture him, but the name does ring a bell.
He's a 100-meter, was a former 100-meter, 200-meter American sprinter. At one stage, he was the fastest man in the world. I think Olympic Games champion or world champion. He got caught, and he popped in 2006. I don't know what for. I think it was nandrolone or something. He got an 8-year ban. 8-year ban. I think he served 4.5, 5 years of it, and then he was allowed to come back. He at the time was the biggest name in athletics. So this was pre Usain Bolt. And even still, the biggest name in athletics. They're like, no, fuck that.
Yeah,
8 years. We don't care who you are. We don't care what you've done. 8 years. And by the way, that's just running in a straight line for 9.8 seconds.
Wasn't there
fucking someone up? This is running in a straight line, 8-year ban. And boxers are getting 12 months, 6 months, slap on the wrist.
Slap on the wrist. And some of them fight once or twice a year anyway. Well, didn't you tell me a story once? Wasn't it in the 2020 Olympics? There was a girl, was she a swimmer or a runner or something? And she popped for marijuana. And they were like, don't care. Ban. Yeah,
Sha'Carri Richardson, who at the time, again, Sha'Carri Richardson, one of the biggest names in sprinting in America. Like, really, like, very exuberant, very out there, very colorful. And they're like, no. That could be a performance enhancing. Get out. And she couldn't go to the fucking Olympics, dude.
And
are you kidding me?
And boxers are just like, well, we'll see. And then, okay, we spent 3 months waiting. So now you're banned for a year, but we'll backdate you 3 months. So you're back in 9 months. You're like, what the hell?
If I'm a boxer, and this is, look, it's not my way. I don't take recreational drugs. It will never be me. But if you're a boxer and you weigh up the risk reward and you're a top boxer, so you're earning good money, the risk is, okay, I get caught. I get 12 months. They don't take my purse, and it's okay because I only fight once a year. The reward is massive. The reward is I don't get caught, and only a few of them do get caught. I win the fight. I look great. My next fight, I'm getting checks because I just won my fight and I look fantastic. Like the risk isn't worth. I mean, the risk is so small, and the reward is so big for cheating. They're gonna cheat, and they're gonna cheat.
Even if you think about it, although Ryan and Devin is a no contest, people still say it. Oh, Ryan beat Devin, even though he was cheating. They still consider him the winner. So for Ryan, he's just like, well, 12-month ban, all that money, and they still say I beat him anyway. So you know, but
honestly, it harmed his career nothing. It literally harmed his career nothing. Like Ryan maybe missed one fight, maybe. It did nothing to his career. So yeah, it's a shame. But again, that's the breaking news. Breaking news when we're filming. By the time you're watching, it won't be breaking news. But we wait to see what Munguia is going to say. As of right now, there's been no statement from Munguia, or he's now with Top Rank, so no statement from Top Rank either. I can't wait to see Oscar De La Hoya's clapback Thursday. Remember, he was with Oscar De La Hoya. He's no longer with Oscar. Oscar's going to go in. So Oscar's going to say, what, you left me and failed a test? What's happened? Oscar's going to go in on the Eddie Reynoso camp. I know exactly what Oscar's going to do. He's going to somehow link this to Canelo. Everyone is going to get shot up by Oscar. Trust me. All right,
Oscar's
let's talk about
pay-per-view now.
I'd buy it.
His statement, yeah.
I'd buy it. Let's talk about Saturday gone at the Hydro Arena in Scotland. Have you been there before? I don't know. Have you been there?
I've never been to Scotland, as have you, until Saturday. And by all accounts, you had a great time.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Didn't know what to expect from the Hydro. Honestly, one of the best venues I've ever been at. Like, there's not a bad seating house. Like, it's a bowl. It's like a fish bowl.
I was going to say,
and everywhere's got a great vantage point. Yeah, there's about 9,000 in there as well. And I think it's just because they don't get much boxing up there, especially big time boxing. So everyone turned up for the boxing, which was nice. But yeah, really enjoyed it. And obviously the main event, I was going to say didn't go to plan, but it kind of did. I mean, if you remove your love for Josh Taylor and just watch his last few fights, it kind of did go to plan. He looked better at the weight, but ultimately he was in there against a guy that has been fighting, has only lost once, doesn't have much scar tissue. And Josh Taylor's batteries literally ran empty after the third or fourth round.
Josh Taylor's 34 years old and hasn't lived a life. Echo Usman is 36 years old, and you can tell he is 24/7, 365 an athlete. And that's the difference. The first 3 rounds, right, it looked like vintage Josh Taylor. And I was watching it live and I was like, oh man, he is like, I'm wondering, is Echo Usman going to see the final bell? Taylor looks so good. And it was like at that moment, right, that's all the energy gone. Now you're done. You've done your bit. My legs can only work for 9 minutes and that's it. And then Echo Usman was all over him. And I thought he won clearly. Clear win for Echo Usman. You can't, especially I knew the last 3 rounds, rounds 10, 11, and 12 would tell us everything we need to know about Josh Taylor because he'd been the distance before. He knows what it's all about. If he's anything left, he'll do something in those rounds. And all of those rounds went to Echo Usman big. So I knew there's nothing left there. You can't pull it out when it's needed.
Yeah, it's a shame. And I mean, you're right. He looked really sharp in the first 3 or 4. I mean, like really good. I was like, wow, his movement, sort of the way in which he glides across the ring. He doesn't seem to walk. It's almost like he's on some sort of machine that just makes him just fly and float across the ring. He looked really good. But then I guess most fighters can do that for 2 or 3 rounds. Can you do it for the full championship 10 or 12 rounds? And in the second half of the fight, there was nothing there. I mean, he tried in the championship rounds, 11, 12 to kind of pull it back. But every time he threw one, Echo threw 4 or 5. And there's just nothing there. And his punches had no snap in them. Like Echo went back to the corner, I think, after round 3, because he got caught a couple of times. And they'll ask him, how hard is he hit? And Echo's like, no, not really. I was like, wow. Yeah. So there's no snap in the punches either. It looked good, but nothing behind him.
No, and the only time Taylor really kind of stunned Usman was in the 5th round. It was more balance. You could tell he was kind of off balance. And then Echo Usman returned the favor and he actually hurt Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor was hurt a couple of times in there. And that's not something we're used to even seeing from Josh Taylor, him really getting hurt. He's normally very durable. So I was thinking, look, the legs seem gone. And Josh Taylor relied so much on his legs in the past because he was never a long-range boxer. He was always use his feet to get in and out, mid to close range. He was brilliant at that. Once they go and they look gone, I don't know what you do. I mean, this weight jump was this was the real, like, kind of lie detector test. You know, you're saying you've been good, even though you've been looking bad at 140. You say you'll be good at 147. This was, to me, was the ultimate lie detector, and it proved that no, there's not much there.
Okay, I saw I saw the title of your video, put a fork in him. Yeah, I saw it. So
Okay.
you're saying he's done?
Yeah. No, but I genuinely mean that. Like I do. I look at that and I just think that there's nothing left in his legs anymore. He hasn't looked good in years. The last time he looked good was 4 years ago. And I think it was 4 years to the day when he fought Echo Usman, that he fought Jose Ramirez. And even in that fight, he slowed down as the fight went on. But he looked good. Like, that was against the Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
And after that, you can look at Jack Hatchell and say he underestimated him, tight at the weight. You could say it was Teofimo Lopez and it's the takeover. But no, I think Josh Taylor at that point, I think Josh Taylor fulfilled what he wanted to do, undisputed. And I don't think he ever really took the game as serious. And then as you get older, more wear and tear, not living the life, it all just added up. And I think that's what happened with Josh Taylor.
Yeah, he maybe clocked the game too easy, right? I mean, he became undisputed in his 19th fight or 18th fight. And maybe it's just like, is that it? So I've done what this thing called boxing. I've achieved all the goals already.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an incredible run. I mean, Baranchik unbeaten, Regis Prograis unbeaten, Victor Postal had only lost once to Crawford, going to America and beating Ramirez. I mean, it's a fantastic run. Ryan Martin chucked in the middle of that as well. And I just wonder if desire and hunger sort of need to be spoken about. And then obviously, look, he has a drink. I mean, if anyone doesn't know that, then unfortunately, you maybe need to start watching another sport. He clearly has a drink, and maybe in between camps, it's maybe one or too many, and maybe that's the issue here.
Yeah, I don't begrudge a fighter having, a drink now and again or something like that. I don't. On occasions, that's fine. But I think you told me a story about CBS that, you meet up after a show, all the zone and all the Matchroom team and whoever it's with, you go for a drink in the bar and some of the fighters would join you. And you said even after the fight, he's still drinking water. There's no alcohol.
He was like, no.
Gym, everything.
I offered him a drink because I saw he had no drink in his hand. I said to Chris, so CBS Chris Smith, I said to him, fancy a drink? I was like, no, I don't drink. And immediately in my head, I went, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because talent-wise, I think CBS would admit he might be behind a lot of the top guys when it comes to talent, right? Opataya, Ramirez's, maybe even the Cody's, etc. But in terms of just, okay, I've got to equate my talent to everything else. I've got to make all the other stuff stand out more, and that means doing more work in the gym, not drinking. And I wonder if Josh, who we know is more talented than everyone, doesn't do what the others are doing. And they've now bridged the gap just based off pure hard work. And he's relied on his talent.
That's exactly what he did. He relied on his talent, and it was vast. But once he got to where he needed to get, it was like, right now I can let the hair down. Now I can. And he was even doing that before he was undisputed. I think he went a bit ham after he beat Regis Prograis. We all saw it. We all know about that. So it's been consistent through his career, and that's just going to put unnecessary miles on you. And as I said, you have these fighters who are not as naturally gifted, but they take the game serious. Echo Usman is an example. He's 2 years older, but he looks way younger.
Echo physically looks about 26. Honestly, if he did one of those body tests, he would never come back as a 36-year-old. Whereas I feel like Josh Taylor might come back higher than 34, if I'm honest. All right, so that's 3 defeats on the record books in a row. It's really 4.
It's really 4.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. I mean, I just don't see how you fix this. I feel bad on Joe McNally, the trainer of Josh Taylor, because I don't think Josh Taylor has ever quite looked as good since he's left Shane McGuigan. Even with Ben Davison, he looked good, but that was Josh. That worked like a dream. Shane McGuigan, Josh Taylor. I don't know what you do, because Echo Usman, no offense, but he's probably European level, maybe fringe world level if you want, because he's lost at domestic level. So if that's the level you're at, you've gone from the guy who we were talking about going in with Crawford to, well, could he even win a British title now? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you get up for that. We talk about Josh Taylor, needing motivation. How do you get up for the fact knowing that you were up there with the best in the world, pound for pound, to now we don't know, could you even challenge a British level?
It must be so difficult for him, like mentally, just because, as you say, this is a guy that was the king of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, top of the tree, right? It was in the pound for pound rankings. I remember looking. I think it was like 8 or something when he became undisputed, 8 or 7. So he was high, and at that time there were some really good names on there as well. That's when Pete Canelo was number 1. So there were some really good names on that list, and it must be just difficult because he's not getting knocked out by these people. Like no one's knocking him down or knocking him out. You know, I know Jack Catcher had him down in their first fight, but he's not getting sort of punished along the ropes.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's
The
no
fights
punishment
are
going on there. Yeah.
No, they're quite competitive, and then it just empties. So it's not an easy. It's like Lee Wood, for example. Like Lee Wood getting stopped by Kakachi. It's like, okay, you're getting hurt. You're taking far too much punishment, Lee. It's time to stop. Like him getting knocked down in these fights, right? Against everyone, really. Michael Conlan, you know. So you can understand why people were saying Lee should stop. But if you're Josh, you're just getting beat. You're getting beat. You're not getting battered. So it must be difficult.
Competitive fights. You're hanging with these guys. So and again, that's got to be a head scratch as well, because you're like, I'm hanging with them. Why can't my body just, because I know when it's going well in there, it's going brilliant. Why can't my body just consistently do that? It's got to be an awful feeling, because as you said, he's never getting beaten. Like, I mean, I didn't think he won the Jack Cattrall first fight, no, but he was more competitive in the second fight. He didn't look bad in the second fight. So you're kind of looking, thinking, right, he's still got it there, but he just can't keep it going. He can't sustain it, it's got to be awful for a fighter knowing that the old you is still there. It's not gone, but you just can't bring him out anymore fully.
Yeah. Hank, right? That's the nickname of him when he turns into that guy. Yeah. It's like the Hulk Hogan movies where Bruce Banner's trying to turn into Hulk and Hulk just won't come out. And it's a bit like that with Josh Taylor. Like Hank you see him, but he's like, won't come out fully. So I wonder. He won't make a rash decision. That's why I didn't get to speak to him in the ring after. He doesn't want to obviously commit to anything. But I personally think it's done. All right, that's a man right at the end. Let's quickly, we'll get to Nathaniel Collins, but let's talk about a man right at the beginning of his career. Well, I say right at the beginning, he's 12-0. That's Moses Itauma, who, like, I mean, everyone was going crazy before the Mike Balogun fight. I mean, you were going crazy. I was going crazy. The whole world now is going crazy. And all of a sudden he does that, and now we're going crazier. Now everyone's like, oh my God, put him in fucking right now with Dubois and Park. Like, fucking, it'll kill everyone. Where are you on that performance? That was it a right hook? Like this last knockdown? And dude, spectacular.
Well, I have to say, Balogun, he was game. Man, he didn't come to lie down. As soon as he got knocked down, he was swinging for the fences. So I give him all the credit in the world. He was not one of these opponents who was just like, right, he's better, I'm done. He was going out on his shield. Itauma's speed. What I can't get over is he's getting heavier. It's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But yet his speed and footwork is still as if he was 220. Like, this is a guy, if you said he's 250, whatever, you'd be like, he doesn't move like a 250. He moves like a guy who's about 220. He's so fast, and his balance is amazing. Now, honestly, it was really impressive. They're mentioning Bacoli, and they've mentioned, the likes of Parker and stuff like that, Hrgovic. I think the two best fights to do, Frank said them, are Otto Wallin and Jermaine Franklin, preferably Jermaine Franklin, because he's
wait. Did Frank say Jermaine Franklin?
I know he said Otto Wallin, but I'm pretty sure.
I've been pushing Jermaine Franklin quite a lot, and people are like, why Jermaine Franklin? I've been pushing him quite a lot. Yeah.
He's a good fighter. He's awkward. He's tricky. He's game. He'll come to win. And he takes some stopping. Joshua couldn't stop him. Dylan White couldn't stop him. So I think he'd be perfect, because that'll tell us exactly where Itauma is. And I'd also even maybe say Charles Martin, because Charles Martin still has a little bit of something.
Yeah, I don't want to see Otto Wallin at all. If I'm honest with you, I thought Otto Wallin against Chisora was a disgrace. I was embarrassed by that performance, and I just, not for me. I want to see a live dog, and Jermaine Franklin's live. Jermaine Franklin comes over with that energy of, you ain't beating me. I mean, look at the way he kind of, I remember those times in that fight where AJ does this thing after every fight. After every round, AJ likes to throw another punch. He does it quite a lot now. And Jermaine Franklin just weren't having it. So they kind of had their little fallouts in the ring as well. So I like the idea of someone coming over, looking at Moses like, you're 20. I ain't losing to you. You're 20.
You're a kid.
And going for, you're a kid. Like, what? Give me him. You're not an experienced pro. And I feel like that's a really good matchup. Obviously, look, there's the Hrgovics of the world, Bacolis, etc. But I don't mind a Jermaine Franklin because he's recently in our memory because of Dillian White and AJ.
And he's, as I said, durable, game. But Itauma is now number 1 by the WBO. So that means...
I don't like that, by the way.
No, that means he's coming into it. That means he knows himself he's got a world title shot in the immediate future. All the more reason to fight a Jermaine Franklin or someone like that. Get you in good stead. But WBO 1, don't like that myself.
Yeah, they're trying to put him on, not trying to. I think he's going to be on the July 19th card. So it's going to be interesting to see who they put him on And obviously, look, they've still got to sell that card. Usyk Dubois, yes, I get it, undisputed, but we still need to see like something crazy on the co-main event. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's a Riyadh season card, but it will still be Riyadh season branded, and people are going to expect a Riyadh season like card. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Frank is the man with the heavyweights, so I expect plenty of heavyweights. I mean, Frank is the Don. He is the Don King of the heavyweights in a much nicer way. So expect a lot of heavyweights there. But yeah, a Teofimo, I can't emphasize enough how impressed I am with him, because for the maturity at 20 years old, because he is a mature, you've spoke with him many times, very, very mature young man in the way he speaks. He is very grounded. And then in the ring, just seems like nothing phases him.
It's incredible.
Just like, I honestly, I'm very high on him, and people are saying, well, why? He's not really, it's like, it's not the fact that he's beaten, world beaters. It's the maturity in his performances. Nothing seems to phase him. He lets the ability show. Like, you can see the footwork, you can see the hand speed, you can see the punching power, and he's just so grounded in his way. I'm telling you now, you could get someone with half of what a Itauma has and put him in there with a Mike Logan, and they'd be worried when he's letting swinging shots go, and they'd be panicking a little bit. They might look at Dempsey McKean and be a bit overawed by, he went 12 rounds with Filip Hrgovic. With Itauma, it's my job. I'm just a man who knows he's talented, knows he's going places, and I'm just going to do what I got to do.
Yeah, I really want America to see him.
So do I.
I think that's the next thing. I know Frank's been talking about doing a card in America, but loan him to Matchroom, Frank, just for one card. Loan him to Matchroom. They do these American shows. I want America to see Moses, because I think they'll love him. I think I think they'll lap him up, because he is no fucks given. Like, he's just Mr. Serious, isn't he? He doesn't come. He's not playing. He's not trying to sell a fight. He's not throwing a table. He just wants to go in there and kill you. And I think they'll love his style. They'll love the fact that there is no muscles. It's just like, he doesn't even look 250. He's physically, it's weird. Well. Yeah, because AJ's 250. And when I'm next to AJ, I see 250. I'm like, oh my God, AJ's big. I don't see it with Moses. I've stood right next to Moses many a time. I'm like, you're not that tall, but you're 250. You're not fat either. Like, where the fuck is the 250? So,
well, could you imagine at 14 he's sparring Lawrence Okoli? So I'd say people were looking at this guy at 14 thinking, how the hell did you get like that? So this is the guy, I think he just has those genetics.
Yeah, he does. He looks like he could put on another 20 pounds and still not look big. But honestly, fantastic. All right, let's quickly run through the rest of the card, because there's so much to talk about in today's podcast. Alois Jr. looked good, didn't he? That was a step up against David Jimison. Knocked him out. Was it the second or third round? Credit to Jimison as well. Jimison kept on getting up as well, to be fair, like Mike Balogun. But
every round he was down,
Alois is just so strong.
Very big puncher. He's mentioned Vidal Riley. Oh, I don't know about that right now for Alois Jr. He looks so good against Chev Clark. He looks so good. I think that's a step up a bit too far too soon for Alois Jr.
Same.
But the punching power, I'd like to see him in there against someone durable as a cruiserweight. Like, if we can get a cruiserweight that's kind of
Chev Clark.
Chev Clark, perfect example, because he is durable.
Yeah.
Chev Clark.
That's a big step up as well. Like, that's a big step up. Yeah, I think Chev Clark's a great. If you're Chev, I'm about to say, what does Chev get out of it? But ultimately, you get a fight out of it, don't you? You get a fight, you get paid.
He's in that's it now, man. He can't be picking and choosing. He can't be he needs to go. He needs to go for it.
Yeah. So there's Chev Clark, there's Isaac Chamberlain, there's Jack Massey, there's Mikhail Lowell. There's some good names. You're right. I think he's a step behind Vidal Riley. Maybe a couple of steps behind Vidal. But I mean, we were saying that about Vidal a couple of years ago, and then obviously Vidal's proven us all wrong. And let's not forget, Alois is in an incredible camp. I mean, that Ben Davison camp. I mean, iron sharpens iron. Everyone's in that fucking camp. So he's in a great camp as well.
Sparring Moses Itauma most likely as well.
I wonder if he lets them spar. I wonder if he does let them do that. Because I thought about that. Like, I don't think there's a way on earth he's letting Fabio Wardley spar Moses Itauma.
Oh, hell no. Could you imagine?
I think once the red mist descends, people are getting hurt. Yeah. And if you're two heavyweights who are very highly ranked and must be close in governing bodies right now, I feel like egos will get involved, and that could be a dangerous spar. I don't think he lets these guys spar each other.
Oh man, that wouldn't be good. That'd be great viewing, but it wouldn't be good for both guys. Maybe egos could get involved, but maybe you get a technical spar or something, jab only or something like that. Maybe something like that. But I would love to see who Alois is sparring, because he is getting better. I wasn't too impressed with him the last year, because I've always just been like, you punch, but you're in there against limited guys. Against Jemison, he looked really good, really sharp.
Yeah, I almost feel like Ben and Lee have now sort of unlocked something with him. So I almost feel like, there's a lot of trainers in that gym. I think everyone just points at Ben Davison and Lee White. There's quite a few. So I wonder if he's now kind of, slowly but surely got upgraded to Ben and Lee. Like, okay, this is a real prospect. You guys take him now. And now we're starting to see the fruits of that improvement. And Nathaniel Collins looked good as well. I was going into that fight thinking it was a 50-50 against Lee McGregor. I have to put my hands up. I haven't watched too much of Nathaniel Collins. He destroyed him. Absolutely destroyed him.
I've liked Nathaniel Collins for a while. You know what I was worried about? Because this fight was at 126. Lee McGregor's best work when he was European champion was at
122. Or 118. Was it 118 or 122?
He won. I'm pretty sure he won his European bantamweight title at 118.
Sure was it bantam? I thought it was at super bantam. Okay.
And McGregor had like a stop-start gap in his career. I know he's still young enough, but he's not looked the same since. He was trained by Ben Davison, actually, Lee McGregor, at one point. And I thought he didn't look amazing last time against Isaac Lowe. Got the win, but didn't look amazing. And I thought Collins would be too powerful. But I thought this would be a kind of competitive fight early. Later on, like as in like 9-10, we might see McGregor break down. I didn't expect round four. I didn't expect that at all. Like that was really impressive.
Yeah, Nathaniel's obviously the better boxer of the two, but I almost felt like Lee neglected all of his boxing to try and have a tear up. And he kept sort of falling over his front foot. And every time he did that, Nathaniel Collins just kind of countered on the back foot. I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is not
box too. That's what I couldn't understand. I'm like, I've seen Lee McGregor box.
Yeah,
he can box
have a
really
boxing
well.
match. Yeah, it's almost like Lee was boxing to Nathaniel's tune as opposed to, okay, I'm just going to fight my fight. A bit Lewis Crocker, Paddy Donovan.
Yes.
When Lewis Crocker came in with this weird stuff, I'm like, what are you doing? Use what got you there rather than changing your whole game plan.
They were never going to beat Paddy like that. Yeah.
Never. This is crazy. Honestly, crazy. All right, that's that fight card. Again, look, as I said, loads to get into here. So we're going to try and run through as much information as we can in the next 20 minutes or so. Teofimo Lopez is having a breakdown online. I mean, he's like saying whatever he wants to say. This guy is crazy. He is as crazy as he is talented. And sometimes the two don't mix.
Yeah, they definitely, you're telling me they don't mix. Listen, I heard it was about he was meant to be fighting Devin Haney, which is a great fight. And then he goes and starts calling Turkey these names. And to credit to Turkey, he just kept it respectful and was like, I think he mentioned maturity. There is a lack of immaturity there. I mean, if you're having issues with, I know Turkey's not a promoter, but if you're having issues with the guy who's making it, all right, that's between you and him. Don't let the world know.
Yeah, I never understand of the idea of, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is jump on Twitter. Like what? That's the last thing. Like literally, that is the last thing you do. Like, first of all, you go to your dad. Actually, maybe you skip that if you're Tio, but then you go to your manager. Maybe then you go somewhere else, and then eventually you get to Turkey. And then if that doesn't work, fair enough, go on Twitter and air your views. But the problem I'm hearing, Dan Rafael reported it, didn't he? That obviously they were trying to make Teofimo Lopez Boots. Whatever reason, Boots decided don't want to do it, might move up in weight. And they've now pivoted to Teofimo Lopez Devon. The money's a bit less. And supposedly that's why he's kicking off, because the money offered to him to fight Boots was a lot more than Devon. Well, Boots is maybe a bigger fight. It's a title fight.
Well,
maybe it's bigger.
In fact, it definitely is. Yeah. In fact, it definitely is. And how much did you get for Barbosa? Was it less? It would probably have been less than Devin Haney. So why are you, again, I don't understand this. And Teofimo Lopez can say, oh, well, he deleted the tweets. Still seeing them. Still there. And you
How much is Tio worth? Like, like
millions.
Just to get out. No. In terms of, if I want Tio on my card, how much is he worth? Like, does Tio bring an extra 10,000 people to a venue?
Probably not. No,
of course he doesn't. No, not even probably. He's never. Tio, MSG, no. T-Mobile Arena, no. Does Tio bring another 400,000 pay-per-view? Like, it's quite easy to find out a fighter's worth. That's not difficult. Bums on seats, pay-per-view. Bums on seats, pay-per-view, or signups to DAZN or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, sometimes these fighters moaning about their worth, it's actually not that difficult to know your worth.
Oh,
I actually think a lot of these fighters in America are getting overpaid.
Exactly. That was apparently Devin Haney got 10 million for fighting Jose Ramirez. That's insane.
What?
That's insane. The report I read yesterday,
where did you where from who? Where's the report from? Sources. Where's the source?
Boxing News 24/7. They had it on their website yesterday saying he was reportedly paid 10 million for that. And I was even like, what the hell?
I don't
believe that either. But he was probably well paid. But they're getting well paid and they're not recouping any of that money. So it's a business. Turkey at the start was obviously like, come on, fight in Riyadh. But now you got to think about business. And he's like, well, how much does Devin versus Teo pay? Is it as big as Ryan versus Devin? No, it's not. It's not. So Ryan versus Devin would make X amount of money. Probably Boots versus Teo would make X amount of money. Devin and Teo, it's a bit lower than both. So there you go. It's like
I'm just astounded. Like I remember when Floyd signed a deal with Showtime. I remember back in the day, I think it was like, I can't remember how much it was. I think it might have been 30 million. I remember thinking, oh my God, something like that. I might be wrong. It was below that maybe. And I remember thinking, if anyone deserves that money, it's Floyd. Because 24/7 is going to be fucking incredible. He's going to draw you to the fight. It's going to do nearly 1 million in pay-per-view buys. And it's always with Floyd, always sold out. Yeah. So you can understand why Floyd said, okay, this is my purse. These other fighters, I'm like, okay, what are you doing? 24/7 style shows are doing crap numbers. You're not doing good pay-per-view numbers, right? And in terms of the events, they're not sold out all the time. Nope. So I don't get why they complain so much.
I really don't. It's just great. It's just great. And you know what I think it is? I think it's the fact that we can go back and look at the Floyds and see what they got. And then they're thinking, well, I'm worth that. It's like, but are you putting the butts on seats that Floyd did? Are you doing the numbers that Floyd did? You can think you're worth it, but like the numbers don't lie. The facts don't lie. And nicest way, you're not. You might get there, but you can't just say, I'm here now because I'm a world champion. Floyd was the B-side. We can people moan about Floyd. He was happy to be the B-side against guys like Arturo Gatti because he knew I beat him. I'm then the A-side. Whereas these guys
Oscar De La Hoya.
And Oscar De La Hoya. Whereas these guys are now like, well, I'm the A-side. Like, no, you're not. You haven't even. What have you done? And you see what I mean? That's what I think they're doing. Whereas Floyd was, you can say what you want about him, but he knew he's like, if I'm going to be B-side, all right, I'll be B-side, but I'll become the A-side.
Yeah, I was still the show. I was still the show, and I would do outlandish things, and you're all going to want to see me. And then when I get in the ring, it's going to be like, honestly, like a ballet dancer, an artist. It's an act. You can't. It's just I miss Floyd. Because this generation makes me miss Floyd so much. I watch old Floyd videos just to remind me of how entertaining and how good he was. Because these kids here, and maybe I'm just this old, grown-up, moany uncle now, but sometimes I watch these fucking kids and I'm like, honestly, I don't get it. And if I'm Turkey, he must just like shake his head like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? So I'm paying you this amount of money, overpaying you, and you call me a dictator online. Like, are you kidding me?
When I seen that, I just thought, well, that's how you get yourself fired 1-on-1. Why would you do that? Like, that is just, honestly, I don't know. And then he bragged.
And who does Teo? Yeah, and who does Teo think's gonna? I honestly, I don't know. Do you think someone's gonna go out and pay more than that? You think Bob Arum's gonna do that, or Al Heyman, or Eddie, or Frank? It's crazy. Honestly, crazy. On the back of that, very quickly, Boots, because obviously, look, the one that everyone was saying was Boots versus Teo, right? Boots is like saying he's probably not going to stay at 147. I'm like, cool, go 154 then.
Yeah,
because like, go. It's easy. Just go. There's nothing at 147 anyway. Go 154 and fight Virgil.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Fight Virgil Ortiz. There you go. Matchroom versus Golden Boy. Boom. Let's get it done. Loads at 154. I think that it's going to be, because he's going to, look, he's weight trained at 147. He's clearly better than everyone anyway. So just go 154. Test yourself, because you've got Fundora, you've got Zoo, you've got Keith Thurman, you've got all these guys that you can have so mega fights in.
You got Majimov, you got Boyshuk, you got Xander Zayas. Like, it's actually frightening, the 154 division.
Exactly. And you think about it like this. Eddie Hearn says Boots can be a star. I believe him. I do. You're not going to be a star at 147 with those guys. You're just not. Yeah. You'll be a star at 154.
The thing is, he might leave the division and it probably get better because there is no king of the division. No, there's no king. There's no king. So it's actually it's more competitive, because right now he is clearly better than everyone. So he leaves, and then it's like, okay, is it Brian Norman? Is it Barrios? Is it Ryan? Is it Devin? Is it Rowley? Is it a couple of guys in the UK potentially? So it would probably be a better division if he does leave, if I'm honest with you, because he's almost a bit too good, which is crazy for the 147-pound division. I saw your video on this one. Obviously, it's been slightly changed. I mean, your video was, I think, AJ signing a 3-fight deal potentially with Turkey. I think they've now confirmed it's likely to be a 2-fight deal.
Mm-hmm.
They brought up names like Jared Anderson and Dillian White. Your thoughts?
Well, like the 2-fight deal, I have a video already ready about that. Just hasn't gone live yet, but a quick plug. I like the 2-fight deal. I think it makes more sense. I understand the Dillian White fight. I don't understand the Anderson fight. I really don't, because I think that could be a very dangerous fight for Anthony Joshua. Now, hear me out. Anderson hasn't looked good his last 2 fights, but he is a bit like Josh Taylor, not in a sense of he's not got it in him. He has it in him. It's just when will it come out? Because when it comes out, it can come out in full. And I think a young, hungry Jared Anderson, with his work rate, with his defense a bit tight, he gives Joshua a hard time. Dillian White, I don't think does. I think that's a fairly easy, boom, bam, see you later, job done type of fight.
Yeah, it's strange. When I saw those names, and it didn't make any sense to me, if I'm brutally honest with you. Jared Anderson came from nowhere. It's like a fight you never, ever would have put together ever. You could match make 100 heavyweights and it wouldn't be one that I would have said, okay, AJ, Jared Anderson. No.
Exactly. And
if Jared Anderson beat Bacoli, fair, but he didn't.
He didn't beat Bacoli, no. And you think about it like this is going to be primarily aimed, it's probably going to be in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be aimed at the UK. Literally no one in the UK knows who Anderson is. No one. Even like...
Does that matter? Does that matter? Everyone knows AJ. Like, do you not just tune in for AJ?
Possibly. But with Dillian White, there's beef there. You know who Dillian White is. You would, even though both guys probably... Well, AJ lost his last fight. Dillian White hasn't looked good for a while. You'd still tune in because of the history. It has something there that Anderson doesn't. You'd be like, well, who's this guy from America? We never heard of him. And he's coming over. Whereas AJ White, oh yeah, remember AJ Dillian White? Do you remember all the beef they had? Remember they were meant to fight a couple of years ago? It has that sales pitch. That's what I think of that.
Yeah, I almost feel like these are opponents that are basically waiting, just sizzling in the background. But ultimately, it's Dubois beats Usyk, and it's Fury if Fury decides to come back. So these are almost like afterthoughts. Like, okay, look, if it's not Dubois, Usyk, or Fury, then okay, what about Dillian White and Jared Anderson, and maybe Filip Hrgovic's name has been brought up as well. What we do know is I thought AJ had one more fight left in him. I thought it was Fury. It's obviously they're saying, no, fuck it, let's just do this thing until the wheels come off. And let's just continue fighting, regardless of if it means anything. I think AJ now just wants to fight. So there's no, with Dillian White and Jared Anderson, that doesn't put you in a position to fight for world titles. It's just fights. So I wonder if that's now the mindset of, I just want to fucking fight.
I'd rather that mindset, to be honest with you, because I think that's going to bring something different out in AJ. If he's just holding on for one more fight against Tyson Fury or a Tyson Fury rematch or whatever, yeah, all right, but you're only holding out for him. But the fact now he's talked about other fighters and he's in the gym, he's been sparring with Coley, that tells me actually that AJ is really going at this. He's not just going at it for Tyson. He's actually, he said, fuck it. If I get Fury, I get it. If I don't, let's just go. Let's just make something of this. He knows he's in the twilight of his career. He said that. Best to give it your all. And I'm glad to hear that. I'm actually happy that we're seeing AJ mentioned, or not AJ, but we're hearing other fights being mentioned, because it's like, yes, the best you're going to bring out of yourself is when you're active. And I think that's good.
Yeah. We'll see how it all plays out. Again, Eddie Hearn has spoken about the idea of a fight in October. He said that AJ's had the elbow surgery. And finally, I did actually see AJ, I think he's in Oman at the moment, doing some sort of fight camp with some youngsters and stuff. I actually did see the effects of surgery. I saw like bandages around his arm. So I'm guessing he has actually had surgery, because I actually thought that was all bullshit.
Yeah, I seen a clip of him where he was hitting the pads and he only had the glove on one hand, so he was like jabbing, but he couldn't throw the right.
That's when I thought, okay, there's clearly something's happened there. Then I will wrap on this one, because again, this could go on and on and on. Sugar Nunez got a win on Wednesday morning against Rikishi. Yeah, against Rikishi in Japan. He's now the IBF super featherweight champ. Remember, this is the belt that Kakache held. Kakache obviously deciding to do a bit of a detour and fight Lee Wood. I get it, more money. Easier fight, if you like, as well. I do wonder if we get to see Sugar Nunez and Kakachi, just because of the 5 versus 5 Queensbury versus Matchroom talk.
I don't blame Kakachi for not taking
what was that? What was that just now? What was that?
I was laughing because Nunez.
Just let it out then. Don't die on the screen. Let it out. That laugh, I thought he was going to suffocate.
No, losing my voice here. Like what? I can't repeat that now. I can't do that again. No, Nunez. I was laughing because Nunez looks so good, and I was like, yeah, Kakashi, I don't blame you for not fighting this guy. This guy is lethal. And never mind. Hang on. Never mind Kakashi versus Nunez. Right? I know. I know we want to see a new way, but could you imagine him against Nick Ball? Could you imagine that fight?
Who?
Nunez versus Nick Ball.
He's too big. I
know.
thought this. He's too big and he hits too hard. Because I said he reminds me of Nick Ball. My video, I said it. I said, but he's just a bigger Nick Ball.
He is, man. How do you keep Rikishi? To his credit, you could see he tried his best to keep him off, but he just could not. Like, this guy is on you like a bad smell. It was because I hadn't really seen much of Nunez, to be honest with you, until I said, I watched this fight. I was like, damn. Yeah, I don't blame Anthony Kakashi for vacating. This guy he's a problem at 130. I'm telling you.
Wait, so you're convinced that he can chin Kakashi?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think Kakashi can crack.
He can.
That boy can crack, and he's good. He's a good switch hitter. He's very big at super feather. I think it's an interesting match. Obviously, look, I'd make Nunez a favorite because he's the younger and fresher of the two. But I mean, I've counted out Kakashi a couple of times, and I've been wrong. Yeah, so I think Kakashi is very, very dangerous, and I think he's been underestimated as well in this. But again, you'd make Sugar Nunez a favorite.
I would make him a favorite. I'd make him a favorite over many, like even Navarrete. Navarrete is real hot and cold these days.
It didn't look great in his last fight.
No, he certainly didn't. I look at Nunez and I'm thinking, yeah, you've got the beating of him. Like, I'm really impressed with this guy. He really did impress me last night or yesterday morning.
Yeah, Eddie's very excited about him. You know the way Eddie is. Eddie's like literally thinks he could beat everyone, not just at 130. Eddie's like 135. Fuck it, let's see who's up there. So Eddie really thinks that he's got something special, and he might have something special as well. G-Man, we crammed a lot into this week. Obviously, look, no boxing over here on the weekend. There is boxing in America. Remember, Caleb Plant fights. Jamal Charlo returns as well. They kind of should be fighting each other, but Jamal has been at the ring for a long time. He's only had like 2 fights in like 5 years. So it makes sense to see what he looks like before they make a September Charlo Caleb Plant fight. That's the plan anyway, for them to fight a super middleweight. But Caleb's always exciting. So is Jamal, to be fair. So we'll see how that plays out. In the meantime, you guys know what to do. Subscribe to G-Man's channel. If you are new to this channel, subscribe to this channel as well. Give it a thumbs up, like, share, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week in person. Boom. That was good.